Welcome to YellBro. I am Jordan, and today we're going to go over a couple of Rogan sagas here. I guess a character arc situation. Bless you. Unless that wasn't a sneeze. Whatever. Joe
Sorry.
Rogan, uh, and I guess him realizing that he might be being used by his audience. And the very last video that I'm going to play is actually going to be showcasing that someone told him about this years ago, of like the possibilities of his platform being used for maybe nefarious reasons. But first, don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Check them out, read them, share them, then donate. All of it is very much appreciated. Also, check out the Discord link if you want to join up, talk shit with people, argue, play music, play movies, whatever the fuck. It all works there except for porn, dick pics, and graphic violence. Those will not be allowed. You'll get banned to the Discord I'm in right now. So, all links, description box. All right. So we have a video from what's his name? Just Too Lazy or something like that. What's his name?
Too lazy to try.
Why is my mouse not scrolling? Fine. Usually I can scroll on the screen here, but it's not letting me. Whatever.
You're on full screen, it looks like.
No, but I can scroll with full screen and like actually scroll down to the description box and all that shit. But whatever. All right, Too Lazy to
I
Try.
can't do that on my computer.
And he has a video named Joe Rogan Realizes He Might Be a Useful Idiot. I also have a second video by a guy named Moon, kind of saying something similar in his title, and I've not watched these, so let's find out. Here we go. First video from Too Lazy to Try. Here we go, and it's obviously George. Here we go.
I have people coming here all the time that I know are bullshitting me. I know they are. Like I
Oh, for
feel
real?
it, you know. And sometimes it's just like, all right, what are you gonna do? I think some of the information that gets shared on this podcast is probably bullshit.
To kind
And
of
they-
like,
to hide
muddy the
things.
waters. Yeah.
All right, so it looks like Joe Rogan is starting to act like he's realizing that
I've never heard him say that ever because I don't watch his shit anymore. I guess that's pretty recent, I guess, where he said this. It's like, what are you going to do about it, man? Are you going to ask people, like, hey, are you lying to me? Are you fucking with me? Are you bullshitting me? Hey, my bullshit meter's going off. Hello? Let me ask a question.
And who are you talking about?
Exactly.
Name names
That as well.
immediately. Because as soon as you say that, I need follow up with names, dates, episodes, timestamps. So,
Stalker.
I agree.
absolutely.
But at the same time, like, okay, let's say in real time, Rogan's interviewing someone and they bring bullshit to his front step, right? You don't have to be like, hey, man, are you lying to me? You could just ask them questions that showcase that they're lying. You could do that. Where it's like, hey, man, it's it's time to be honest now. After I asked you these questions that you couldn't answer and you danced around, it's time to be honest. Please tell me where you're coming from in regards to all this. Is it ideological? Is it maybe job-based? Is it worse? I don't know.
Yeah, but if you're saying that people have come to your podcast and they've spread bullshit, which episodes were they? Like maybe you should disclose that.
Well, it's
You
like,
should probably disclose that.
yes, but
Just
also
saying.
also
Or make corrections.
well, also disclose, like, did you realize that in real time, or was it like after the fact? Someone told you, or you rewatched the episode, or you thought about it later, and then you're like, "Oh shit, was this guy lying to me? Holy fuck!" That is also
Yeah,
very
I agree. And
important, isn't it?
contextualize it like within like what
Yes.
what was your train of thought? When did you realize it? All that stuff. Yes. Like full transparency, just like they like, right? Transparency,
Exactly. And then also,
accountability.
tell us what the fuck you're gonna do with that, Rogan. What do you do now? All right. Too lazy to try. Here we go.
Waters.
All right, so it looks like Joe Rogan is starting to act like he's realizing that his podcast is being used by grifters and politicians to make money and promote propaganda, specifically alien propaganda. Apparently, Joe thinks some of the information on his podcast regarding aliens is probably bullshit that's pushed by.
What? Okay, I swear to God, I have not watched this video, so I'm actually surprised. Like, he's talking about like, and
He's talking about
I
that
know
Paulina
already.
woman who went on his show. Yes.
I know exactly where he's going now. It's
No, Jordan. He's talking about the Blink 182 guy.
I think both.
He's finally figured it out.
They're coming on his
5 years
show. like some sort of like paid by the CIA or something to hide the
To
fact that
discredit.
aliens are amongst
Dis-
us.
To discredit the cause. To discredit. He wants to believe. Okay. He wants to believe.
I'm actually wrecked by that. I swear to God, I thought these videos were actually about like, oh, Rogan's starting to realize that some guys on the show just to promote, just to do something with the platform, just to like abuse the platform. But I guess
He still doesn't realize.
Alien
all right, let's see.
propaganda.
See, too lazy. Fucking substantiate what he just said right there. I'm already wrecked. Here we go.
By the government. I mean, it's hilarious that this is what's finally getting Joe to admit that the government's using his podcast. So he came to this realization after the podcast he did with that congresswoman who told him the government has evidence of UFOs and interdimensional beings. But of course, she couldn't go into any detail about it or really explain what evidence there is. So it was just a complete waste of time. And she sounded like an idiot. I mean, she wasn't even good at bullshitting us. At least other UFO guests, even if they're full of shit, they can come up with some interesting stuff to say. But she couldn't even do that. I mean, if she wasn't attractive, this would have been one of Joe's most disliked podcasts. Also because it's really obvious that Trump's administration pushed for Joe to have her on. Like, he almost admitted that the other day when he said he thinks the government sends people on his podcast to talk about aliens right after he had this congresswoman on. And during that podcast, you tell Joe was trying his best to go along with what she was saying and act like she's somewhat convincing. But there are moments where he's having trouble taking her seriously because it was just a complete joke. And I think Joe is probably even a little embarrassed about the episode because it was just that bad. And it was pretty obvious that it was being used as a psyop to distract from the Epstein Files cover-up.
But I do have to say that if
like Demi Moore right there.
if I was the government and I wanted to like spread a bunch of crazy stories about UFOs, I'd tell them to people like Tom.
I guess so, yeah.
And I'd tell them to people like me. I mean, I think people do that on this podcast. I think some of the information that gets shared on this podcast is probably bullshit.
To kind of like, you know, muddy the waters. Yeah.
One of the witnesses had talked about what had happened at Vanderbilt.
So if you can mentally see that, Joe, why wouldn't you? I don't know. Why would you? You had the lady on, right? Like, well, okay, with the alien stuff. Can we go on to the Epstein stuff? If that's what the main point or what the audience would expect to hear from this lady. All right. One of the main topics. Let's not get distracted by aliens. Let's just. Is he not? Whatever. Here we go. I got nothing for him. Here we go.
Muddy the waters. Yeah.
One of the witnesses had talked about what had happened at Vandenberg Air Base, where there was this thing that appeared over the base. It actually had multiple blotters reporting on it from phone calls into law enforcement from like hundreds of people. And whatever had appeared over the base was basically bigger than a football field and basically a cube, a red cube with some weird thing in the center of it.
But I want to bring it back to evidence. You said that you've seen evidence. Like, what kind of evidence have you seen?
I have seen photos. I have seen...
what have you seen photos of?
So I was in a skiff, and I can't discuss all that was in a skiff, but what I can tell you is based on the photos that I've seen, I'm very confident that there's things out there that have not been created by mankind.
So you can't tell us what you saw, but...
I'm going to let you infer.
Infer. See... This is the problem that I have with all this stuff.
There have been incidences that I believe where very credible people have reported that there have been movement outside of time and space.
That's very vague.
Yeah. So
outside of time and space.
Yeah. Look, have I seen a portal open? No. Have I seen a spaceship? Personally, no. Have I seen evidence of this? Yes. Have I seen photo documentation of aircraft that I believe were not made by mankind? Yes.
Yeah, so Joe's acting like he's catching on, like he's just starting to figure out that he's a useful idiot. But he obviously knows his podcast is used for propaganda. He just doesn't care unless it's this obvious or embarrassing, like with this lady and also Cash Patel. Then he feels the need to be like, shit, I think they're lying to me. But of course, he knew this congresswoman was going to be full of shit. And there's a reason the government wants him to have her on. Like I said in my last video about this, a week before this podcast, Trump's administration had a meeting on how to handle the Epstein Files fiasco, and they discussed how they could use Rogan's podcast. And I'm sure Joe was told not to mention Epstein during this episode because this lady's the head of a task force, which I'm sure is just some bullshit thing, but it's supposed to be pushing for the release of the Epstein Files. So you'd think Joe would ask her about this. This would be a big topic, but he never mentioned it once. So I think they probably learned from the Cash Patel episode and how badly that went. I mean, almost everybody knew Cash Patel was full of shit during that episode. So having this lady try to explain how not releasing the files was a 4D chess move from Trump would have just made things 10 times worse. So they must have told her and Joe not to bring up Epstein, even though she did mention it once, but just to say that she's not using aliens to distract from it. So it's
damn, man. He's saying, yeah, Rogan's in on it. He got the phone call. Yeah, don't bring this up. I mean, possibly. Although, like, once again, when I call Joe Rogan dumb, it's not a matter of capacity for remembering things and shit like that, or whatever the fuck. He's dumb because, at least in my opinion, like, he wants to please everybody, I think. Pause. Like, and yeah, like an avoidance of conflict and things like that, where it's like, hey, Joe, can we not talk? Like, you don't need the government phone call. She could go in, talk to him, like, hey, listen, Joe, can we not talk about this thing because it's like, it's really pressing. I'm not trying to do that. Okay, sure, yeah, all right. And then the show just goes by without it being brought up, like straight up. That's my guess. But also, it'd be hilarious if like they actually have like alien footage. They're like, it's like a double reverse whammy or something. There actually are aliens trying to take over the planet, and we're using the Epstein stuff as a distraction for the actual aliens taking over the planet. Sorry, that should be hilarious to me.
What's going on, guys?
No comment. Don't say it.
Wait, what?
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Wait, what?
You're on recording right now. Don't you fucking say it. Don't you ruin my video by saying it.
I'm not here to ruin anything, man. I'm just here to see what's the discussion. I'm not here to mention it. Mention what?
Don't you fucking do it, Jesse. Don't you ask questions. Don't ask questions like that.
Oh my God.
Don't ask questions like that. I told you.
Is this a dictatorship?
No. What did I say? I said you're gonna end up like he's gonna like pop up out of nowhere now. You have to keep fucking mentioning that shit, and here he is.
I was summoning him with my mind.
KDC, don't lie. Did she DM you?
Who messaged?
Did you get my message?
KDC.
Did you get my
I
message?
knew it.
Don't lie.
Fucking knew it.
Yeah.
You little
I didn't
weirdo.
actually message him. I didn't
No.
message him.
Yeah, you did.
No,
Oh,
I
you
didn't.
did.
I
Oh,
messaged him.
fucking
It was telepathic.
No, shut up.
KDC, we need you in all caps urgently. Is I'm guessing the message that was sent to him.
I didn't send him a message.
Yeah.
It's the funny part.
All right. Whatever.
She didn't. She
Okay.
didn't send me a message.
Whatever.
Back to the video. Here's more from Too Lazy.
which is comical. But I think Joe might be starting to feel a little guilty about these episodes. That's why afterwards he's like, guys, come on. I know guests are lying to me all the time. Because he said that right after the one with the Congresswoman and then also right after the one with Cash Patel. He basically referenced
I just
Cash
will bring up the
and
Duncan
UFO
Trussell
people because around the time of that podcast, also there's a former UFO guest of Joe's that has worked for the government. He claimed to release some pictures of aliens and UAPs, which were obviously just fake as hell. So everybody was clowning on him, including Joe. So between that and Cash Patel, Joe felt like he needed to say,
Cash
like, guys,
really bad.
Look at that
people are full
picture,
of shit.
bro.
I'm not
I'm wrecked.
stupid. And I'm pretty sure there's a cut while they're talking about that at the end of this clip. So I think Joe might have been a little too honest here.
Jamie, speaking of UFOs, did you see Lou Elizondo, these photos that are supposedly of a real alien?
Oh, here we go.
Bro, it's so dumb. The photos look blurry. Of the photos of the dead alien, like you can't even zoom in on that. You can't even fucking focus. Look at these. Yeah, that thing. Look at that. What is that?
Like
Ironically enough, yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell's recordings sound like fucking Kevin from fucking Home Alone's like recording audio, like this mishmashy and fucking white noise and fucking hell, man. Like, isn't it 2025? Aren't you the government? Can't you have like super high tech, like noise gates and fucking microphones and top notch technology? Instead, we get this fucking 1990s tape recording. Like a 1990s answer machine, like mini tape recordings. Fuck my life. All right, here we go.
What's that? What is that? How about better pictures? This is crazy. These are the only pictures? Is this from the 40s? Like, what's this picture from? What is this?
Oh, people want to believe.
Bro,
They
so
look like
bad.
Pokemon.
Me too. I'm like, maybe the bottom ones.
It was funny. Somebody asked me.
I do that sometimes when I'm questioning people and I know they're not telling me the truth. And I'll say, wait a minute. So what you're saying is, and so I don't even have to like say that's ridiculous.
You're just
That's fucking
acknowledging,
bullshit.
yeah.
I just let the internet have it. You know?
Yeah, you go,
You know what I
really?
mean? Like Epstein didn't kill himself. You know, like that kind of a deal. Like, okay. You know, like let the internet deal with this. I'm not going to deal with this.
Let the peasants
This is
deal
like
with it.
I can only be so.
But you're a person too, Rogan. Like you're allowed to be human too. That's fine. Like say what if you have an idea or you have a question about something, right? Your whole premise was I talk to people that I'm interested in or topics I'm interested about. And I bring on people to talk about that stuff. Like thus, you can ask like questions. Right? You are click-clacking in my background right now. Holy
sorry, bro.
Christ. Fucking worse than Josh with a keyboard. All right,
You should both be silenced.
I agree.
I think
All right, here we go.
it's a cop out to let the internet handle it because
Well, like he says he has
it-
people on that he's interested in, so it doesn't make sense to let the internet have it. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, so he doesn't want to like make them uncomfortable, right? Because let's say you want the internet to handle it, but they can't ask any questions. He doesn't have any channels of communication. So like if he's got so many hours, if he had like the last hour or the last 10 minutes of like questions streamed to him, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, we missed this," like. But he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to make the guest uncomfortable, so he doesn't question them.
Yeah,
Like seriously.
yeah. I mean, well, that's part of the like what I think could be happening, where it's like, okay, well, they won't answer any more questions if I like push them too hard. Like, well, there are, quote unquote, nice guy ways to ask questions and do follow ups, and if they get up and walk away, they wreck themselves. Like, if they're full of shit, they're wrecking themselves, right? If they're legit, you can be like, hey, man, I don't know what happened. I tried to talk to you, and what happened, man? You can do that with anyone, right? And if they give you a bullshit response, like, well, it is what it is. But if you're just gonna like roll out the red carpet and say, internet, handle this. Hey, is this what you mean by Epstein killed? Like, what do you mean by Epstein killed himself? What do you mean by that? Like, can you define that? Can you describe it? He doesn't even do the actual follow-up questions. So that's not good enough, Rogan. That's really not good enough, especially if you're saying, I'm just some dumb comedian who's interested in things, and I'm talking to people. It doesn't work for me based on that, right? Then, you yourself, just being curious, would ask follow-up questions, like real ones, to get to an answer. Then again, welcome to planet Earth. Here we go.
Pushy. When people don't want to talk about a specific thing or want to give you an answer that you think is pretty much gaslighting you, you're like, okay, so that's a real UFO? All right. You might, I have people come in here all the time that I know are bullshitting me. I know they are. Like, I feel it, and sometimes it's just like, all right, what are you going to do?
You'll call them sometimes.
Sometimes.
What are you going to do?
Sometimes I don't know.
And it's so funny. He's basically like, I know a lot of my guests are.
You can ask questions, you dummy. How do I know? What am I going to do? Ask questions. Be like, yo, I'm a fucking 5-year-old. I don't know anything about the world. Let me ask you questions to find out more about what you think about the world. Pretty simple, or a certain topic or whatever, right? Why not do that? Why is that so fucking difficult? Why can't you do that? I don't know what to do. Just ask questions. Like, just work from the premise that, okay, I'm dumb. These guys are quote unquote experts, or they know something, or they're interesting about in some form or fashion. Just fucking ask questions. What the fuck? Not difficult. don't have to be mean while you do that. Just ask questions. All right, here we go.
Sometimes,
Fuck my
but like
life,
sometimes I don't know.
And it's so funny. He's basically like,
Well,
I
you
know
ask
a lot
questions,
of my
you
guests are full of
dummy.
shit and are grifters just trying to make money or promote propaganda, but what are you gonna do about it? And he specifically mentions the UFO guests, but only a month or two after this, he had on this bimbo to talk about interdimensional beings.
So when you say that it operates outside our understanding of physics, what specifically are you saying? Like what happened?
To I guess break it down in simple terms is that I think that some of the tech that exists, that whatever these things have, these energy things have,
Energy things? What do you mean?
Well, they call them interdimensional beings. I think that they can actually operate through the time spaces that we currently have.
Yeah, so who could have guessed that this lady wasn't going to be credible? Definitely not Joe. Poor guy fell for it again. And even some of Rogan's comedy friends like Dan Soder make fun of him for doing podcasts like this. You know, and then afterwards being like, I think the government was just trying to use my platform, you know, like with this one and also the Cash Patel one.
Rogan's like, oh man,
Really?
I think they tricked me.
It's almost like I think they like used me in my platform, and the FBI director lied to my face.
And it seems like these Rogan episodes with politicians just keep getting worse and more obvious. You know, so I can't wait to see what they come up with next. I mean, the episodes are entertaining, and even if Joe doesn't push back, enough people, I think, call out the bullshit now. Like, people are aware of what's going on. And I think Joe might be losing patience.
This guy's like
with
locked
Trump's
into the Rogan verse,
administration.
isn't
If
he?
they don't show him some proof of aliens soon, they might lose
Yeah, I
him.
think that's all
If
he
they really
reports
want him
on.
to go all
He's
out,
on that
helping
beat.
cover up the
That
Epstein
sounds
files. They just got to show him proof
terrible.
of aliens. That's all it takes. You know, it's all he's ever asked for.
I'll tell the government right now.
Good
I'll
God.
tell you right now, if you're listening, NSA, CIA, I'm available. Okay? If you show me all the real
Okay.
wreckage, I swear to God, I will make fun of that crap to the end of time. I'll make up stories. I'll
What
lie
the
to my
blink?
mother. I don't care. You show me a UFO, I'll lie to my mother.
Let's say an intelligence community to manipulate them than it is to come in here. Like an intelligence community is not going to go, all right, let's find.
Might play the Duncan show.
Bring me to the UFOs.
No,
That's
no,
all
well,
I
for
ask,
sure. You
and I'm on the
keep
agenda.
telling them that. Yes.
That's all you have to do. What do you want me to do?
It's
You wanna-
very easy.
We're going to go to war with Kosovo? I don't even know where
idea.
Kosovo is on a map, but if you tell me where the UFOs are, I'll have a guy in here that explains
What?
why it's super important. We
But it
bomb
is
the
funny.
fuck.
It's like what they'd have.
So they better show him some of those aliens soon
What?
if they want him to keep pushing government
Oh,
propaganda.
come on. I took that as a joke, and it's actually funny to me. It's like, yo, just show me the aliens. Want to do another 9/11? Yeah. I'll do your propaganda. Just show me the aliens. I'll do it. That's fucking funny to me. I'm sorry. That's hilarious. Sorry, go ahead, Joseph.
Okay. So,
That's funny, dude. I'm sorry. That's funny. That's hilarious to me. All right. Here. See any false flags? Yeah, I'll say nothing. Just show me the aliens, bro. It's all I want, bro. It's all I've wanted since childhood. See some aliens. That's funny. All right, here we go.
And distract him from the Epstein files because it sounds like he's getting fed up with all the bullshit proof of aliens. And it's funny that might be the final straw for him. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And if you want to hear about how Epstein clients have been using Rogan's podcast to try to help vindicate themselves, or how Peter Thiel, a guy who took a giant loan from Epstein after he's a convicted sex offender, is Rogan's handler. And he was almost Tim Dillon's
Why'd you
too,
leave out
but
sex?
I guess the food at his dinners wasn't good enough or something. So then he got JD Vance to start whining and dining him. So he might be under the Peter Thiel umbrella soon. But if you want to hear about that or how Joe
Okay.
Rogan
He's a Rogan verse fucking scholar or something. Okay. Oh, he actually reads comments. Okay. The elephant graveyard video game? Okay. All right, let's move on to a different version of the moment Joe Rogan realizes his guest is a fraud. Yeah, I'm curious. Once again, I got basically not saying he did this, but I'm saying like I trolled myself essentially in that first video. Where I'm like, oh shit, like yeah, man, these guys, man, I think they're on here to lie to me. And to lie to the audience. Like about what? Aliens. Here to lie about aliens, bro. It's like a distraction, you know what I'm saying? Good God. All right. Here we go with like someone named Moon. The moment Joe Rogan realizes his guest is a fraud. Here we go.
This video is sponsored
That's
by War
loud.
Thunder. Joe Rogan's long conversation format does something most media can't. It gives people enough time to really open up, and sometimes more than they probably should. People get comfortable, they let their guard down, they start talking like they would with a friend instead of how they would at a press conference. And that's when things get really interesting. When the casual admissions start slipping out, when the contradictions pile up, and when you ultimately realize the person sitting there might not be quite who you thought they were. And in those moments, Joe Rogan realizes his guest is compromised. So first, let's talk about someone who discreetly became one of the world's leading podcasters, platforming major political figures and powerful billionaires along the way. If you spent any time in the podcast world, you probably already know who Lex Fridman is, the MIT researcher in the black suit with the monotone voice, who positions himself as this neutral intellectual seeking truth and understanding. And Lex isn't some bad guy necessarily, and he's not some master manipulator, but he's seemingly a guy who seems to have developed a severe case of main character syndrome. When Lex comes on the Joe Rogan Experience, talking about his interviews with world leaders like Zelensky and his plans to interview Putin, Joe asks the question everyone should be asking.
It's like, why are you doing it? You know what I mean? Like, why this guy who works in AI just decides he's going to start a podcast. The podcast becomes very successful, and all of a sudden he's like, I'd like to talk to everybody. I'd like to go over and talk to Zelensky and talk to Putin, and everybody's like, why you? What the fuck are you doing?
That's the fundamental question, and Joe knows it. Random academics don't usually just start interviewing presidents during active wars, but listen to how Lex responds. He doesn't really explain how he got this access. Instead, he just talks about his mission.
I'm aware of the risks, I accept the risks. And the goal, the mission is to just push for peace, to do my small part in pushing for peace.
This is a podcaster on YouTube talking like he's been appointed by the UN to broker peace negotiations. A couple of weeks after his famous Zelensky interview, he then turned on him, right in the...
Before I read, or he reads this, my mission is to push for peace. I guess people talking... Well, it just doesn't make sense in reality, in my humble opinion. I get why someone might think that. I'm like, oh, more people talking means peace. But meanwhile, it's like those same civilized conversations can lead to war too. So that can't be the actual thing if you're trying to be like a little more mathematic about the situation. But okay. Here we go. I would think the person that actually wants the world to change would try to find standards that stand outside the typical shit that we do anyways, right? Like they would have more expansive answers because they're really trying to make the world a better place. But then again, I don't know. All right, here we go.
Middle of the war, and this is all after praising him consistently in his Joe Rogan appearances.
Read it, you
of the war.
The amount of disrespect President Zelensky showed to Donald Trump and the American people today was insane. This was I assume he means the Oval Office thing, right? This was a mistake. I have tremendous respect for President Zelensky for the heroic actions he took in the early days of the war. But diplomacy at this stage obviously required showing respect to world leaders, even more so during tense, difficult peace negotiations. I did everything I could to help in my small way to build bridges. This was the opposite of that. It was a big step backwards. All of this breaks my heart. I pray for peace. I'm going to assume he means the Oval Office, spin out situation, right?
You don't get the cards.
Yeah, but why would you read that scenario that way? I don't get how you read that scenario that way, unless you don't actually look into it, which means I don't think you actually care about the situation. At that point, right? Like you don't even bother to look into the thing. Like what he didn't wear a suit or something like that. Like what's the big deal? I thought these guys were like, oh, I hear your ideas and I hear your ideas. Then I look at them together. I'm like, okay, I see why Zelensky's doing this. I see why Trump and J.D. Vance are doing that. I thought that's what these guys do, these intellectuals on podcasts do. Huh. Yep, all right. Whatever. Here we go.
And this is all after praising him consistently in his Joe Rogan appearances. Lex even said he'd had a few days to think about and posted an extremely egotistical rant criticizing the Ukrainian president for his crude words about Vladimir Putin.
I give the president every single chance to signal willingness to negotiate, knowing that both Trump and Putin will listen to this conversation.
Was Lex a negotiator?
And instead chose to speak very crude words
He's
towards
very
Vladimir Putin.
As if
very
Lex is the
calm in
moral
his
arbiter in
words,
one of
and
the
he's very
worst
short.
wars in recent history.
He should be.
But when you see this response to the Ukrainian war, you start to realize there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. Throughout his media appearances, he's constantly introduced as a research scientist from MIT, but what's rarely mentioned is that his PhD is actually from Drexel University, not MIT, and that he just holds a non-faculty research position. As of 2024, Lex lives in Austin, Texas, appearing on MIT's campus only occasionally while still drawing on MIT's salary. So how did he really build his platform? And where did he come from? And how has he got access to all of these major figures? Well, in 2019, he published an allegedly completely bogus Tesla study claiming that autopilot kept drivers alert, contradicting every legitimate study on the topic. AI experts destroyed it, calling it deeply flawed. MIT was so embarrassed that they scrubbed it from their entire website. So why did he do it? Well, it was actually a genius social move. As a former MIT colleague said, Lex was just excited to get in touch with Elon Musk and get into his good graces. And it appears the whole study might have just been a networking scheme. And it worked greatly. Tesla then flew him out and he was able to interview Elon Musk, and suddenly his Nobody podcast became something massive. And a common theme in this podcast was about peace and love, and how this is his mission for his media career. He once said,
I'm a silly little kid trying to do a bit of good in this world.
Like a hopeless romantic striving for connection. But nothing shows you Friedman's love everyone philosophy quite like watching him defend history's biggest mass murderer on the podcast.
He always said, you can surrender, and then we would not murder anybody. You just have to follow the law.
So everybody could have just laid down and 10% of the world's population wouldn't be dead?
Yes.
He also says that Genghis Khan was progressive, and so obviously Joe pushed back that this was probably false, to which Friedman just says nope.
But there's a lot of progressive aspects.
Maybe a little
like
bit.
He put a lot of women in positions of power.
Yeah, but he did a lot of raping.
Nope.
Joe then later accuses him of whitewashing the atrocities and pushes
I
back
think
on defending
it's,
Genghis's brutal regime, to which Freeman retreats.
And by the way, I'm regretting defending Genghis Khan. A lot of women in positions of power.
Yeah, but he did.
Nope. And so obviously Joe pushed back that this was probably false, to which Freeman just says nope.
But there's a lot of progressive aspects. Like he put a lot of women in positions of power.
Yeah, but he did a lot of raping.
Nope.
Joe then later accuses him of whitewashing the atrocities and pushes back on defending Genghis's brutal regime, to which Freeman retreats.
And by the way, I'm regretting defending Genghis Khan in this conversation for fun. War is hell.
Notice that for fun,
Is it
you can
janky?
float any idea no matter how morally bankrupt, then claim intellectual curiosity when called out. People have consistently identified a pattern in Lex's media appearances. Bloomberg reported that tech CEOs view his podcast as a friendlier alternative to more adversarial interviews with traditional journalists. The Verge called him a softball interviewer, while The Atlantic observed he does not maintain even a thin veneer of journalistic detachment. But when you watch him in any of these podcasts, you notice something about him. He always cuts away from his podcast to face the camera and lecture the audience about something at the end to steal the attention and the limelight, never letting anyone have a final say. So here's a guy who built a media platform through networking and fake credentials, then convinced himself he's been chosen to broker world peace, all whilst completely slandering Zelensky for opposing Putin's war in Ukraine.
And you still talk to me like that? Do you know how?
What the
As
fuck
if
am I looking at?
Putin wants to sit down and talk, but Ukraine does not. This is not true.
I think that, yes, he is in fact ready to talk.
Did you talk to him?
On the phone or what?
How do you normally talk to him?
I don't know. Normally by the sea.
So it's really no wonder that many are questioning whether he himself is an intelligence asset. Whether that's possible or he's just drunk on his own importance, the result is the same. And it's all wrapped up in
I
a
thought
love
that
everyone
around the
philosophy
beginning.
that ensures nobody powerful.
What's up?
I thought that around the beginning, like very early on.
An asset, you said? Like that idea? Okay.
Yeah, like it's just been it's been very weird. Like the way he interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, and And then I find out after about like his credentialing and just things that just doesn't add up. But I mean, I don't know if he's actually like one, but like I guess the way they're explaining it in this video, um, they're doing it more of a like a super narcissistic
Yeah.
type of way, which is also possible.
I mean, I don't know enough about Lex Fridman at all. I really don't. I mean, I've seen videos of like, exposures of Lex Fridman and maybe maybe some of his videos where he's interviewing someone that I'm like interested in hearing their either ideas or the topic itself, but otherwise I don't really know the guy too well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
He's had very interesting people in the beginning, and then I remember being turned off by his ideas many times, or I just stopped watching.
Yeah. Well, it's like I don't know. I hear someone like, "Oh yeah, it's like we need to be able to, talk to each other in love and peace and like that type of shit." And I'm hearing like no real exploration of those ideas of any of that, right? Of those ideas. It's kind of just like kind of bland statements about love, peace. It's like, well, what the fuck does that mean, man? Like, come on. That's where I get weirded out a little bit. Like, there's no actual exploration of those ideas to be like, this is what we need, right? Like, okay, why do bad things happen, Lex? And I guess it's because we don't talk enough. I guess, which is also Rogan's idea, but you can tell either one of these fools actually thought about it. Seemingly, it seems like they're just saying that we all talk, things will get better. Like, no, it doesn't mean that at all. If you talk to someone, you better be real. If you're not being real, you're not getting anywhere. So pleasantries and wow, what a great man, and Trump meeting with Putin, right? Like, wow, we had a very constructive conversation. Like, well, okay, you guys like let it go, like you were being yourselves amongst each other, or was it like, yeah, we don't want the war. Well, we don't want it either. Well, we should have peace talks. I think we should like end them, like get rid of them. That's how we end the war. We take out the other side. Unilateral fucking we won type shit. I'm not saying that anyone was saying that. It's just like that. Like you have to actually go more into detail and more into depth about those things. But Barry's living good. All right, here we go. Let's keep it on.
Ever faces real accountability. The performative nature of Freeman's persona became painfully clear when he brought his guitar to play the show's theme as a thank you for 10 years of Joe Rogan experience.
His name is...
Oh no, not this.
I'm skipping.
Yeah.
To the fake
Please.
persona. Just
Do not skip that. Go back.
No.
You fucked up. You should never skip that song. It was terrible.
Several orders of magnitude. But then there were truly compromised people like Mike
James made me watch the
who
whole
comes
thing.
onto Joe Rogan with ulterior motives.
I made myself not
You see,
watch
Mike
the
Baker
whole
served
thing.
as a covert
Or
field
any of it.
operations
He was in
officer
control.
in the CIA for 17 years. He has 21 documented appearances stretching all the way back to episode 541 10 years ago. For someone who appears...
Yeah.
Wow.
The Mike Baker stuff. I mean, it's kind of pretty obvious. I think.
His handler.
I'm not gonna say a handler. It's just like, I mean, well, to be honest, like his things are like at best, or I guess at worst, kind of like Fox. So shit that's already being reported on Fox News. He's trying to give like the quote unquote CIA analysis, like backing of it, of what's on Fox News already. Right? He's not breaking anything. Right? He's not breaking stories and shit like that. It's more so just shit that's out there from the more neocon, right-leaning, I guess, topics, and then adding like, well, here's why this is legitimate, or here's why, we should be worried about China, or whatever the fuck, right? Like he's just here to give like quote-unquote expert analysis to make it work for the more, I guess, independent thinkers, quote-unquote independent thinkers that watch Joe Rogan instead of Fox News, right? And like substantiates it with like with his own data or let's be honest, talking points. And that's been around for a while. And there's been random guys talking about different type of Venezuela to Middle Eastern stuff to Jocko Willinks to this Anderson guy. I forgot his name. Something Anderson. Talking about Venezuela. It's
Silva?
No, not Anderson. We need data. We need to bomb Venezuela. Can you imagine?
They know we need to bomb Venezuela. Chell. Make sure Chell is there.
I think his name was Ben. Ben Anderson, maybe? It could be fucking that up. But that's a video that actually me and you, James, did like 6 years ago. Talking about like, yo, Rogan, your guest. How come they're allowed to just like say these things with no real like pushback or questions? Just spilling propaganda. Then when you fast forward to today, where it's like, yo, you have Alex Jones and obviously Trump himself saying, like, yeah, and they're sending fucking, Navy ships and fucking Marines and all that stuff to surround Venezuela and all that shit. It's like, yo, the seeds could have been like allowed to be planted way back on old Joe Rogan episodes. And Rogan has nothing for it. It's just like, I don't know. Rogan or his audience, let's be honest. They might not even know that shit happened. Even when they were watching it themselves. They might have just like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Whoa. Like when they thought or considered Rogan legit. And we talked about this last night with the whole Netanyahu PBD thing, where a lot of fans, they build their fucking idols up. They build statues of them, then knock them down as like a cathartic, therapeutic fucking session. And it's just like, they're doing it with Rogan, right? Once again, not saying the too lazy guy or this guy or whatever are have built Rogan up, and then, but I'm just saying, like, it seems to be like a phenomenon that society does over and over again. I mean, like, right? What is it? Die and be a hero, or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Like, that seems to be the way society does these things with these idol type characters, like Rogan, right?
Die and be a hero.
Like, well, they built him up as like, oh my god, he's the
You either
everyday
die a
man.
hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah.
Hova.
It's like, oh, Rogan, so he's one of us. Right? And now they built him up, and they're like, fuck you, Rogan. Knock him down. Got it.
Fuck you, Rogan. He's not
Almost like
even
a
6
ritual, like a pathological ritual.
Yeah. Pretty weird. Instead of like being their own, like even actually by Rogan's own words, become your own hero type of thing, and whip it. But yeah. No, you're our hero. You represent us. They tear him down.
You.
But all right.
We believed you. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right, Moon, take it away. Here we go.
All the way back to episode 541 10 years ago. For someone who appears so frequently on the world's biggest podcast, the audience's reaction is often quite subdued. One expectation is when he conveniently appears just before or following a major controversial event or incident, which he then seeks to rationalize with his friendly dad-like CIA persona. You see, there's that well-known saying, there's no such thing as a retired CIA agent. Baker pretty much proved that in his very last appearance on the show. When Joe jokes about his phone being compromised, Baker drops this admission.
Oh no, in fact, and I'm in the building on occasion, and we're actually working on a show that's gonna be a great TV show based on this amazing museum that's inside agency headquarters. But nobody ever says that. They don't. We have a really nice relationship. They don't tell me what to say. If I go on TV to talk about something, they just like, it's not like they're gonna call up and say, well, here's our view on this.
They trust you.
Yeah, they trust me. I'm not gonna open my app and talk sources and methods. And
he's still in.
But we have evidence that people who quote unquote are at CIA, like Michael Bay as like a movie director, does get like footnotes and corrections to scripts from like the military and the CIA and other.
Yeah, there's a whole documentary about that.
Exactly. So it's like
that filmmaker guy who talked to us about that. It's really, yeah.
Exactly.
I can tell you what the documentary is called because I think people should check it out. Actually,
Fuck. It's.
He says they trust him.
I did a review of the whole of that documentary.
Oh, you did?
And I'm forgetting the fucking name of it. Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
Well, he spoke in a class of mine. What was his name? He works at University of Georgia. I know that.
Okay. On Art is Dead, I reviewed the entire. Did I put it on YellBro too? I don't know.
I'll find it.
Theaters of War. Theaters of War, right?
Yes. Theater of War. Yeah, Theater of War.
Yeah. And yes, that exposes quite a bit in regards to the movie industry and all that stuff. So you take a guy who wasn't an ex-CIA officer like Michael Bay, and somehow he gets orders with his movies. You're telling me, Mike Baker, you don't get any type of anything in regards to interviews or TV appearances or projects you're working on? You're telling me you get no type of like, hey, say this, do this. Hey, I recommend doing this or do that. Nothing? That'd be like, very hard to believe. Very hard to believe.
He just said that.
I know.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many companies that I've worked with. They've even said that if you're going to mention something in public or news or anything about the company, you have to pass it through their PR department, right? And when you leave, you may even have like NDAs and they could go for years after.
Carry over NDA.
So he gets nothing out of the CIA. He said they trust me.
Yeah.
Like, and with the assumption that you trust every single person that's worked there, right? Like he's not a special in their rules. They're not going to bend the rules to trust him, right? So that makes no sense.
Not to me. Well, the project, I don't know what project he's talking about, but whether it's like fictional shit, entertainment shit, or it's documentary shit. If they trust him, that means he knows the rules. Okay, this is what you do. You protect the fucking shield, no matter what. That's my guess, but I can't say I know. But all right, let's keep playing. Here we go. But by the way, the Moon guy, like, why not watch the entirety of the 10-year ago version of Joe Rogan podcast where this guy's on there? Like, hey, is this guy doing this shit back then? I think that's a worthy question, truly. But all right, here we go.
They just like, it's not like they're gonna call up and say, well, here's our view on this.
They trust you.
Yeah,
they do that with Michael Bay.
Open my app and talk sources and methods. And
he's still in the building, still working on projects with them, still maintaining that really nice relationship where they trust him not to reveal classified information. Doesn't really sound a lot like retirement. But before we continue, I want to tell you about our video sponsor, War Thunder.
Advertisements.
Multiplayer battle.
To stand against the military-industrial complex. But first, our sponsor, War Thunder. Destroy your enemies through aerial assault. Like, fuck out here, bro. Shut up. I don't want to see this shit. Get this shit out of here.
New skins coming out April 2nd.
Played in the last 6 months, vehicles, days of pre-prime techniques is
50% off on. Use codename Fuckface and get 50% off on your new skins. All right, here we go.
Revealing partial truths to establish credibility while protecting deeper secrets. This is called a limited hangout, a term which itself originated during the Nixon administration's Watergate scandal, first appearing in White House tapes in 1973, where officials discussed releasing some damaging information to satisfy public curiosity while concealing more serious crimes. And here's an example of Baker making a controlled admission on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Goddamn, of course we steal secrets. That's the point of the exercise, right?
When Joe raises concerns about intelligence agencies acting autonomously outside elected government control, in other words, the deep state, Baker reacts in more or less the same way, again taking a superficial stance that softens the idea of nefarious government control or social engineering.
I think the thing that people are weirded out by when it comes to intelligence agencies in this day and age is that they kind of act autonomously. They kind of act outside of what we think of
we do
as
what you
the
gotta
government.
do, Joe.
And that's the term, the deep state, that everybody's so concerned with. There's a government that has its own rules and its own ability to enact things that are outside of elected officials and the will of the people.
I guess there's two parts to this. One is never say never, right? I mean, you never want to discount the idea that the intel community or law enforcement or whatever could, essentially develop a mind of its own, work separate from whatever government administration the people think they've elected into office. So never say that couldn't happen, because you always want to be wary of that.
Classic Baker fails to answer the question. The idea of the deep state is
or
reasonable,
on behalf
normal, or ordinary.
of people that they've put into office, because yeah, that could be bad too. Just saying.
Yeah. Or the apathetic version, like,
yeah, I know what you're doing. Keep doing your job, though. Good job. God bless America. I know you're destroying other people. I don't care. Go ahead, do it. Make sure that Trump coin inflates quite a bit, though. Don't forget that. Yeah.
The Melania coin too.
The Melania coin.
Don't forget. Put some respect on Melania's name. Coin.
Make sure the Coke gets here in good time, okay? Thank you. I'll put you my phone as Domino's, okay?
All right, here we go.
Fails to answer the question. The idea of the deep state is reasonable, normal, or ordinary. He appears to validate the concerns while actually deflecting them. He satisfies conspiracy-minded listeners while protecting the institution by claiming that in his experience the agency was uniquely apolitical. Baker's obsession with secrecy reveals the institutional mindset that drives intelligence. He returns to this theme repeatedly, almost compulsively.
If you've signed an agreement, if you've signed a deal that says you're not going to talk about something, shut your pie hole.
Despite his role being to essentially make intelligence more ordinary or transparent, Baker's worldview reveals itself through his just following orders mentality.
I'm sure there's all sorts of flaws in the way that I'm thinking, but I'm a very simple person. When I was in operations, you tell me what to do, I'll do it, right? I never sat around and got angsty about anything because I just didn't see any point in it. And so...
Again, pragmatic.
So what does that make you feel about the following Freudian slip, which came in his very first Joe Rogan Experience appearance back in 2014?
We're not trying to, at the end of the day, bust somebody. I mean, maybe at the end of an operation, we're looking to, to terminate them, but I mean, that's a different story. Just forget I said that.
Baker is explaining how the CIA develops long-term intelligence assets rather than...
Come on, dude. Like, this is what I mean by like having like abstract intelligence, right? In a way, how would the viewer view this? They'd view it as like him being charismatic and kind of like the romance of being like a spy or something. That's what I'm hearing here. But when you're too analytical, you're just taking word for word things instead of like trying to read into it. I think you get kind of lost, truly. And yeah, it's like
you miss the forest for the trees kind of thing.
Yes, there's a reason why I cry about fucking movies and screenplays and plots and cinematography and film so much. I also love movies, but also I was like, yo, this is an actual like type of intelligence that I think is very important in any realm of experience. Like, man, is that girl into me? I don't know. I'm trying to read the signs. Like, that's abstract thinking. There it is right there. It's abstraction. Why not use it in other parts of the world or other ideas or experiences? But all right, here we go.
Looking to terminate them, but I mean that's a different story. Just forget I said that.
Baker is explaining how the CIA develops long-term intelligence assets rather than making arrests like law enforcement, and then casually mentions that sometimes they terminate people instead. Sure, he might mean safely severing their relationship with the agency, but in the context of discussing field operations and the differences between CIA and FBI methods, there's another reasonable interpretation of what Baker meant, and his instant attempt.
Once again, you have to look at it like abstract, in my humble opinion. Like, they're like the idea of like, I'm a good guy doing the right thing, but
like
I also
007.
Yes, but I can also be dangerous too, right? Just like yeah, exactly like James Bond, right? I'm cool, I'm
Literally,
smooth,
like,
I'm suave,
cool spy.
Yeah, and I'm
Mr. Cool Spy.
and I'm a good guy. I work for good people. I work for the goodness of the world, but also I'm dangerous too. Like that's like the kind of romanticized like version of that, right? All right, here we go.
Spy novel.
Exactly. Exactly. Maybe they realize that abstract intelligence is kind of dying away in a way. You're like, all right, let's just put Reacher out there and have him like take his shirt off every 30 seconds. Do that instead. let's have Manroid, take his shirt off and rip car doors off. I'll do that. All right, here we go.
To retract it proves he knew he'd said too much. Baker does not claim to be a whistleblower or anything like that. His role focused on showing the CIA as more transparent and straightforward than many believe. In essence, he wraps foreign policy up in a warm blanket and deflects or deflates criticism. He sucks all the life out of what could be an insightful discussion. We can observe this in the way he handled Edward Snowden, the NSA whistleblower who exposed mass surveillance programs. The moment Joe brings up Snowden's name, Baker's mask slips.
I heard this.
How do you feel about guys like Edward Snowden, guys?
Yeah, I remember this.
Is that funny?
Yeah, it's funny. See, I laugh when I get irritated.
Is he irritating?
Yeah, he's irritating to me, yeah.
Joe Rogan in this moment is slightly taken aback by the reaction. He's starting to clock on to who he's really talking to. Rather than engaging with Snowden's revelations, Baker goes straight into character assassination, comparing.
Yeah.
But what? Go ahead, Jesse. Go ahead.
Yeah, I remember watching this, and
Yeah.
this really got to me. Like, when he talked about this, like he was giving narrative on the whole situation. He wasn't. It sounded like something you would give, like NBC or something, that like as an explanation. Like very weird robotic answers.
Well, it was. Well, I'm gonna disagree, and like as far as like what he was projecting, maybe it is like robotic at the core of what he's doing, of like auto answers in a way, but it felt like more of like I look like just some guy casually talking about it, like, yeah, I'm one of the boys, and we don't like this guy, like where it like, actually can like come off as like casual or just like one of the dude, like one of the guys, right, one of the dudes just hanging out. That's what I like the way he said it, right, was like I told you I laugh when I'm angry or frustrated. I giggle, right? Almost like very casual. But yeah, fuck that guy, Snowden. He went against the boys. I'm one of the boys. They went against the boys, right? They're doing that. He's doing that shit a bit.
Was this not the one, unless I'm mistaken, but where he starts to not say his opinion of him? I remember something where it's like, no, he broke the law. This is like this. He was like telling you what the situation was, and
there might have been a later one where that was brought up again.
Oh, okay.
It could have possibly been after the arrest of Assange, right? And then I guess Snowden came up.
I'm thinking of a fairly recent one, like
I'm thinking like
ago.
5. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm thinking of like 5 or 6 years ago. The thing I'm talking about.
Yeah, he said he came on like 10 times, so I guess it could be different.
Yeah, but I do remember this too. Like when he first, because I used to watch Rogan. Right, I used to watch his shit. And if that video is from 10 years ago, where he mentions, he's like, we don't like that guy. I don't think I was on YouTube at that time, or at that period of time. I'm like, yeah, that's fucking weird. Definitely weird. But he definitely, like, I think was trying to explain it like he's like, oh, it's one of the, like, I'm one of the guys, and we don't like that dude over there named Snowden. And it was a very weird, in my opinion, explanation of all that. And to be honest with you, Rogan should know more.
He was talking to it like he was like a fan of his rival sports team or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh well, he's a Mets fan, like Anthony, so
Sideswipe them. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. Maybe I was more forgiving back then, but I feel like I would have been like, yo, Rogan, this guy just said that right in front of you, and you had all these other ideas about Snowden before that, right? On your own podcast before that, you had all these ideas like, oh, these guys are like heroes. They're explaining, government secrets of how they're fucking us over. right? And then this guy says that in front of you, and you're like, whoa, wow, whoa. Like, come on. You could be friends with Mike Baker, too. Listen, Mike Baker, you are welcomed to my Discord. Now, what you hear in response, you may not like, but if you stick around, you're always welcome. Unless well, actually, in this Discord, you can spam dick pics if you want to. I'll just put you in like a dungeon somewhere. Quote unquote dungeon. YellBro hell. YellBro dark.
Just don't bring him to Doom's dungeon.
No one's afraid of you. Don't worry about that. No one's afraid. A waddling duck, a 3 foot tall waddling duck. No one's afraid of that. Anyways.
A mighty duck. Thank you.
All right, here we go. By the way, this guy looks like fucking what's his name? Hugh Grant. He looks a little bit like Hugh Grant to me. But I'll rewind to that part that he just said right here. Here we go. And Rogan should have definitely pushed him on this, but here we go.
Guys.
Yeah.
Is that funny?
Yeah, it's funny. See, I laugh when I get irritated.
Is he irritating to
Yeah,
you?
he's irritating to me, yeah.
Joe Rogan in this moment is slightly taken aback by the reaction. He's starting to clock on to who he's
Hopefully
really
he
talking
questioned
to.
harder.
Rather than engaging with Snowden's revelations, Baker goes straight into character assassination, comparing him to Robert Hansen, the FBI counterintelligence agent who spied for Russia for 22 years.
Yeah, I mean, so did Hansen when he started spying for the fucking Soviets. So, that's always the case. I didn't have any other choice. People weren't listening to me. Oh my God. I'm not getting the respect I deserve.
This guy's from Boston,
It is
by the
funny
way.
they all go to the Soviets, right?
Oh my God.
He's right over there chilling in Russia.
Yeah.
Baker doesn't stop with Snowden. He extends his character assassination to Glenn Greenwald, the journalist who helped publish the leaked documents.
Glenn Greenwald and Snowden, these guys, they all want to, talk about how, no, we've safeguarded it. Well, if they're smarter than the fucking PRC and the PLA out in China and smarter than the FSB in Russia, then, winged monkeys on unicorns going to fly out my ass.
We said earlier that.
But I think it's pretty well established of people that care about that topic that Glenn didn't do a great job. Glenn and The Intercept didn't do a great job of releasing those files. Or what was the number? There's like 90-something% of it not actually released still to this day, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah.
Yeah, in addition to like a bunch of people getting arrested by the
Yes,
the
whistleblowers.
FBI, the NSA, because of the whistleblowers. So it's like, is this a honeypot? Like, what is this? I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Kind of weird. And then I just want to put this out there, but Barrett Brown was saying how Michael Tracy's defense of Epstein maybe is not that weird, considering he works for Glenn Greenwald part-time. And Glenn Greenwald doesn't really talk about that topic in depth. And he works for Peter Thiel. So anyway, I'm not saying that that's at all related, but those are interesting things that are somewhat connected to each other. Could mean something, could mean nothing. But
Funny
I just wanna
enough,
put that out there.
funny enough, you brought that up before of Barrett Brown saying that, and he ended up in my feed. So I saw that exact tweet that he
Pause.
what? What's a pause there? Exact tweet. What the fuck? Anyways, I saw that exact tweet, and he tags Michael
ended up
Tracy
in my feed.
Oh shit.
That's a
Okay.
pause.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
that's a pause. All right.
That's not.
Fair
That's
enough.
not.
No, that's a pause. That's a pause.
No, it's not. I don't care.
It's a
I'm not
pause.
gonna do pause like Nazi. So whatever. Do your thing.
It'd be worse if I said like feed bag. That'd be worse. But it's still a pause, I think. Technically. This is James in a black and white stripe with a whistle. He's like, yo.
Pause referee.
Excuse me, sir. What did you just say right there? All right. But yeah, I did see that in the For You page on Twitter from Barrett Brown. I'll link that for the video itself.
I just thought that was interesting. Also, what did he say? That this like neck beard Epstein.
Yes, the neck beard.
Neck beard. Okay, Barrett is really fucking funny with his little zingers. He's a complete asshole. But he said that Michael Tracy was one of the first people that came out, or the first person that came out after he got out of prison to to interview him for The Intercept. Anyway.
this is gonna also be weird. I don't know if you saw the Michael Tracy tweet from today about the
No.
Minnesota shooting, and
Oh.
he tied it to the Epstein stuff. Like, look, they're so obsessed with Epstein that they went out and did like a shooting. Like he's like kind of
Wait,
implying
what?
that. Yeah.
I thought who was the shooter? Was it like a Q
Well,
person?
I heard 10 million different stories. Oh, it's a transgender person that hates Trump, but also says save the kids. Like they wrote like words on their fucking magazines, right? The fucking shooter.
Oh, they like engraved in there.
Yeah, it was like save the
bullets?
children and fuck Trump or some shit like that. Let me see.
Mm.
This is actually worth showing. And I'll bring up the Barrett Brown one. Wow.
Well,
There's
Michael Tracy's on an island. I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, let me find the
Fucking
Barrett
weirdo.
Brown one real fast.
He's alone on that thing.
He really is. He's alone. There's not even life in that island. All the fucking plants are dead. Everything's dead. It's fucking barren ass island.
There's not one person like.
There's no oxygen. It's nothing. It's a fucking island in a black hole.
What's Barrett Brown's Twitter name? That's like a
Project
baseball player.
PM.
Okay. One where this one right here.
They nuked. They nuked his other one, I think. So he just uses this one.
This is borderline side note, but I think it's worth going over. One of the first people to fly down to interview me upon my release from prison was neckbeard Epstein apologist Michael Tracy, whose patron Glenn Greenwald was still concealing his involvement with Epstein associate Peter Thiel. Not sure what to make of this. And I'm going to link this, and then here's Michael from the shooting. The psycho 23-year-old who shot up a church full of kids in Minneapolis scrawled messages on his equipment such as kill pedos, for the children, kill Donald Trump, release the list,
God.
which he also whispers maniacally on video. Wonder where he consumed content online. So it's like, he's almost like implying like people asking about the Epstein stuff led to this happening itself. Like he's almost like kind of implying that, right? This might nuke my video, by the way, but whatever.
Like maybe anyone who's like kind of in the pedo hunting business, like he's putting a target on their back too.
But that's like weird though, right? Like you're saying people
it is.
speculating about Epstein led to a shooting happening, like a mass shooting happening? Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
It's like
what
the thing they
fuck?
did with the Pizzagate. Like, oh, look, QAnon created this frenzy, and some guy went to go shoot up a Comet Pizza in frickin' Capitol Hill
Yeah.
in DC. Yeah. So.
But would that not be a conspiracy theory from Tracy?
I would think so, but
yeah.
that dude's takes they wreck my brain actually, especially for
He's
like
alone
a
on an island.
quote unquote
Yeah.
investigative journalist. For that, it's
This
like,
is something
ugh.
else. This is something else. It's like, are you on a job? You know what I mean? Like, what is this?
It's fucking weird. It's weird.
Yeah, it's like fucking TaskRabbit. Like, did someone TaskRabbit this to you? Gotta go accomplish task.
Remember his fucking state like, hey guys, you guys remember all these Trump fans complaining about Me Too, and now you guys are doing the same thing, aren't you? With this whole Epstein thing, like, what the fuck, dude? What are you appealing to them? Are you trying to like you're trying to like lure people towards an idea instead of like just be the quote unquote investigative journalist, right? That like actually digs into a story or something like that. It's just very bizarre.
Looks
very
desperate.
Bizarre. It's like, for what reason, man? For what fucking reason?
Glenda mentioned him today. Say that there's no way he's gonna like talk to Michael Tracy in public about that because he's argued with him so much in private. He doesn't want to.
Really?
He's like, yeah. He said that like he kind of respects Michael Tracy in general, but on that topic,
Yeah, he works for him.
He works for him.
Yeah, Michael Tracy works for Glenn Greenwald, either part time or whatever. But he's like he runs his show sometimes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
They're like,
so he has an episode today. I saw it come up
on Glenn's show. Okay, right.
Where on Glenn's show,
Okay, I'll link that. Too.
So one of his like Patreons or somebody, he says, oh, he supports him a lot, like or often, or maybe he sends a bunch of tokens or whatever. And but this guy asked a question on about Whitney Webb, like like what their relationship is, because like
okay, that's the other angle.
this
Go ahead.
person,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, this person likes both of them, Glenn Greenwald
Mm-hmm.
and Whitney Webb, and he's like, are you guys fighting or what's going on? And he explains that whole thing, that she had accusations of him like a while back, and for a few years, about the intercept and all of that. And he says his short summary is that like he has firsthand knowledge of that, like, and so like on other stories, like he mostly says he respects her, and that she adds a lot to various different topics that he's read about her, like that her stories. But on that topic, he says he has first-hand knowledge of it, and that so it's not true, that's what he's saying. And so that kind of colors his vision of like the work she does, but he still said he respects it. And then that led into mentioning Michael Tracy, he has some weird like weird thing with her about that, like that there, and he and the whole Epstein thing, like he said he really disagrees with most of what he was saying, but uh there's some things, interesting things to read there. He recommends reading it, but he's not going to talk about it in public, he says, because he's already done it too much in private.
I'm gonna check that out.
Like argued.
Interesting. That actually adds weight to Barrett's argument. I'm just saying, because what Barrett didn't mention is that because of his little feud with Whitney, it's like maybe he literally sent him as a fucking TaskRabbit. Like, okay, go, like, attack. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that actually happened. I'm just speculating. I have no proof of that, but it's just
fair.
Something to think about.
Yeah, because I did a recording of reacting to Sabby Sabs and Whitney Webb, where all that shit is like actually brought up. I think less so Michael Tracy and more so Glenn Greenwald, and yeah, that's because I had no idea that these guys were like, I don't know, beefing with each other or whatever the fuck. So, I mean, I'll check that out, and if it works in my world,
not
I'll
necessarily
maybe do a combined
beefing,
video. Yeah, good.
I don't know if it's like, I don't think that or Whitney and Glenn Greenwald, at least, I don't know if it's necessarily beefing as it is like, from what I heard from her specifically, was that she criticized him on the Snowden files thing, and people getting arrested and stuff. Yeah, and all that stuff, and like was asking him questions about it, like online, on Twitter. Yeah, like someone has a bigger platform than you, they're saying things, or you feel like they're hiding things, like you're criticizing them in public, like it's a public platform. And I guess he got upset, and he ended up like calling her kind of like a conspiracy theorist, or like almost like rabid, and basically told her to shoo and like blocked her.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's weird.
And if I'd watched Glenn's video and it feels like it's something that's not necessarily in the more like the gossip realm, and more so like, okay, something weird is happening here, I'll definitely, like, because I did the Savvy video, I'm like, am I going to release this? Because it doesn't feel like they actually went over the topic that's, named in the video. It was about Joe Rogan, by the way. Like, she's asking, like, why am I, or Sabby asked Whitney Webb about, like, hey, why aren't you invited on Joe Rogan, even though, like, your work is quoted, or people that like you have your shit quoted, or whatever the fuck, right? And it's like,
yeah,
that's why I watched the video, but then it wasn't actually about that. They kind of like, there's like a couple words about it, and then moved on to other things, like Glenn Greenwald. But I didn't know, I'd never heard of that before, of them having like a problem with each other or whatever.
So she's been saying that for years.
I did not see that or look into it, so yeah.
That's why it's like, it's rather interesting that Michael Tracy, like, I don't know, it's just, why now?
Yeah. The Michael Tracy on his own is just the weirdest thing. Like,
I'm still trying to understand. I'm
Yeah.
still not
It's so
like
fucking
fully
weird.
dealt with that because it's a mind fuck. Because it doesn't.
Glenn
It doesn't
said he's
actually make
alone
sense.
on this. Glenn said he's alone.
Of course, he's alone on that island. He left. He's fucking.
well, the school shooting thing I just brought, like, or not school, it was a church shooting, right? And it's like, this is what you're using for this, like, you're almost abusing the scenario to turn it into, like, see, guys? See, look,
But
this is
it
what
can't be
happens.
rage bait because he's not even getting that much engagement out of it. So it's like, what is this? This is not. It's not even effective rage bait because people are just gonna ignore you after a while.
Well,
I don't know. It's just
That's
not.
worthy enough of like, if you're gonna use some scenario where 2 children get fucking killed, I think it was like an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, I think, died.
Yeah.
You're gonna use that scenario to be like, see, guys, told you about Epstein. Leave it alone. Like, if you're
No. I mean, like,
that's fucking
not about
weird,
the kids.
bro. Yeah,
Not about the kids part. I'm talking about the Epstein, like, contrarian thing.
Yeah.
Not like this specific example, but just like that topic in general and the way that he's talking about it. It can't be like rage bait or like contrarianism.
Yes. I
It's just
agree.
it doesn't make sense.
I agree.
Just the whole thing because it's not going to work because people are not going to engage with that after a while. They're just gonna be like, all right, I'm good. Like this is you almost like discredit yourself. Like I don't know.
Well, you never know. Because maybe people find an opportunity to throw rotten eggs or, rotten vegetables and fruit at them. Maybe that's once again, another like cathartic thing that could be happening with Michael Tracy.
Sure.
Not saying he's doing it on
Yeah.
purpose, just saying like for the audience, why they might come back to it is to like, okay, let's shit on Michael Tracy, right? Because he's saying bullshit, so let's shit on him.
Yeah, but it's not even like it's just also long winded and fucking
Yeah.
boring and like you know what I'm saying? Like, who the f gonna sit through all that like babble word salad bullshit? Yeah, no.
He's invested for some reason, whatever reason. He's invested in this.
It takes too long. You don't even understand what you're talking about half the time with this because it doesn't make sense and it's just too many adjectives and adverbs and I don't know. It's just yeah.
Well,
whatever.
The Tracy saga is not over. He's gonna keep going. It sounds like, but we should continue with this moon video about Joe Rogan. All right, here we go.
Baker has a media career, but he's also a businessman. On his first appearance in the Joe Rogan Experience in 2014, he was introduced as president of Diligence LLC, a global intelligence and security firm. But by 2022, the story had changed as his company changed name and face while staying deeply connected to the government.
Called Portman Square Group. And I've been doing this. It was under a different name, and then we were able to do a management buyout. So
his current team of Portman Square Group includes former NSA officials who retired after long careers. So he's not only in the building, but also likely presides over live operations to this day. There's also some very interesting ideas on show from Baker's latest appearance, where the conversation inevitably turned to Jeffrey Epstein. Baker provides what sounds like objective intelligence analysis while potentially protecting deeper secrets. The discussion begins with Joe and Baker agreeing that Epstein's houses were obviously surveilled.
you think this freak show of Epstein wasn't like, it didn't have hidden cameras or wasn't taped and shit? Or what? I mean, come on.
100%.
So
100%.
Yeah.
Mossad, whoever it is that was involved in this intelligence gathering. I mean, I'm just guessing.
Right,
I have
right,
no
right. Wait
idea.
for it.
But there's fucking pinhole cameras all over that house.
Yeah.
When Joe asked directly whether Epstein was working for an intelligence agency, Baker's response reversed to his typical stance.
I can't speak to, the rumors about him working for one intel agency or another, but I will say, if I'm working for an intel agency and I see something like that, yeah, I might find that of interest, right?
Oh, for
and then
sure.
I would definitely go after somebody to see what's going on. Just if for no other reason, then again, maybe it's a opportunity there.
Again, it's all just non-spectacular, obvious
Russia and China,
intelligence
go ahead.
practices, and definitely not a conspiracy that involves CIA corporation in any way. It's actually really frustrating, and sometimes you can see that in Joe's reaction. often he just looks down and carries on. He knows Baker has lines that he'll never cross. Whenever you think of Mike Baker, it's difficult to say that his many appearances on Joe Rogan provide a goldmine of insight into the CIA and their operations. And considering he's one of the most frequent guests on the show, this is kind of ridiculous. Rather, he just palms everything off as dull, mild, and boring, ordinary, just bog standard CIA operations like you might see on a Hollywood blockbuster. Viewers even openly mock the whole formula. Comments like, Mike Baker drinking game, take a shot every time he says I can't talk about that and you'll be sober all night, and CIA training must include advanced techniques for talking without communicating. The elephant in the room here is whether Joe actually knows this or not, and whether there's actually a higher authority at play here for him to come on the podcast so many times. Whatever you think of that, Baker's persona makes CIA activities, including the occasional termination.
Russia and China? I'm gonna look that up. I swear to God, I thought he brought up Russia and China. Mike Baker in regards to Epstein connections.
I'm not sure. Maybe he's not playing that part. I don't know.
I say. Yeah, I'm tricking myself. It's a different Mike, some guy named Mike Baker. I don't know. All right, let me see. Just Epstein, see what happens. Sorry, my scroll wheel keeps going. He keeps showing this guy. Mike Benz. Does this Mike Baker guy exist? It says Chinese intelligence. He would it's not like Jeffrey.
It was some Rogan. What do you think from your perspective? What do you think that was all about? Who do you think was involved in that? Do you think it was the Mossad? Do you think it was some rogue intelligence agency in America? Was it a coordinated effort?
You know what? I know this. There's a lot of talk about. Did he have some sort of intel connection? Right.
Right.
That from my perspective, it's complete speculation. But I will say, like from an operational perspective, I have no idea. Was it Mossad? Was it anybody? Who knows?
Right.
But from an operational perspective, if you see a guy like this who's super connected and all the way back to 2008 was like his first trial, right? So he's had a long history of these problems. But if you know that he's kind of engaged in a variety of things. As an example, if I'm Chinese intel, right, and I just read the goddamn entertainment news, and there's these rumors and allegations of high-level people flying off to his island, I'm going to think that's interesting because potentially, if I could get an access source there, if I can get somebody right inside that operation, whether it's Ghislaine Maxwell or whether it's Epstein himself, whether it's somebody who's just on the outskirts of it. Maybe I'll start picking up some pretty interesting leverageable information on people that maybe I want to influence.
Okay. Maybe it was just like a fucking tweet where I read that. But it felt like there's something being said here. All right. All right, maybe not. All right, we'll go back to this. Here we go. But he kind of skipped that part out where he mentioned China right there. I think he mentions Russia at some point too, but I could be getting this wrong. But all right, here we go.
Seem as normal as discussing the weather. People like him are often called glowies, a term coined by the late programmer Terry Davies, who suffered from schizophrenia and claimed in a 2017 video that CIA agents glow in the dark because they're so obviously federal agents trying to blend in. The term then spread on 4chan and is widely used to describe suspected government agents posting online or appearing in media to shape narratives. And Baker practically has a glowing neon sign above his head when he makes one of his many Joe Rogan appearances. But after spending some time with Mike Baker, the CIA's friendly neighborhood operative who turns government black ops into casual conversation, you'd think the intelligence community's media manipulation couldn't
One
get
good left
any
hook,
more
this guy goes down
outlandish.
pretty
Yeah,
quickly.
Mike Baker is actually nothing compared to this guy, who might be one of the most suspicious guests to ever sit across from Joe Rogan.
Who the
So
fuck
let's
is
meet
this?
Lou Elizondo. You see, at least Baker admits he worked for the CIA. Lou doesn't even articulate what he supposedly did.
I had a lot of official jobs
with the government in regards to,
you know,
those,
He's wearing a small bent rim Yankees
That's not
hat.
how many
He's
UFO
already
whistleblowers
suspicious,
have ever
bro.
spoken on the show. Like David Grush, who came on with a proven, highly decorated record. Lou makes some extraordinary claims while hiding behind classification.
There is very compelling evidence to suggest that the U.S. government is in absolute possession of exotic material that is not made by humans.
He also addresses why so much
Oh my
UFO
God.
footage is lo-fi, saying that there's 4K HD footage out there. But notice how he says he can't expand on any of it, and hasn't been given permission to talk about
Okay,
it.
so he's gonna
He
bring
just
up the shit
declares
the
that
other
it
video did.
exists. Yet here he is on a platform known to reach millions of people, admitting that the government is handling alien objects. Joe questions exactly this.
Why is the Pentagon teasing us? Why are they allowing you to say we are in possession of something that was not made by human beings, but not allowed to elaborate?
Lou continued to argue that he was only sanctioned by the Pentagon to say certain things, and told Joe a faction of people will be very mad with him and that his appearance on the show would cause a storm within the Pentagon. But is any of this actually credible though? The investigative publication The Intercept conducted a thorough investigation into him, with Pentagon spokesperson Christopher Sherwood explicitly stating, Mr. Elizondo has no responsibilities with regard to the AATIP program, while he worked
I might
in
skip this part.
OUSDI, up until the time he resigned. Other whistleblowers have never been straight up
UFO
discredited
shit.
in the same way. So is Lou compromised in the sense that he's just a fraud? Well, some people say this, but not just because of his fake credentials, but his documented history of presenting fake evidence is real. For example, in 2018, he showed images
I'll
of
let it play.
UFOs supposedly swarming the US Capitol building, claiming what you see here are real photographs. They turned out to be CGI fakes from a movie and a scan from a 1954 comic book. In 2024, during a congressional briefing, he held up what he claimed was a real UFO photo from a pilot, but it was actually just an irrigation circle easily
I know
found
nothing
on
about the
Google Maps
UFO
that were
shit,
forever marked
honestly.
as Lou's
I'm just gonna let
UAP
it play,
shadow.
I guess.
Perhaps most embarrassingly, on his paid book
He
tour,
might
he
come back
showed
to something
audiences
else.
a real photo of a UFO mothership hovering over the US embassy in Romania.
real
it was a
reactions.
reflection of
Sorry.
a chandelier in a window, and you can literally see the photographer's hairline in the image. But if Lou represents the evolution from intelligence professional to UFO grifter, Annie Jacobson shows what happens when your job turns into complete fantasy.
Annie
Jacobson is an accomplished author
Hot
who's
mom.
written extensively about classified government programs. Somewhere along the way, she started spreading some totally unhinged theories, which became exposed on Joe Rogan. In her book about Area 51, Jacobson claims the 1947 Roswell crash wasn't aliens, it was something far more sinister. On the podcast, when Joe brings it up, she begins by skirting around the topic and saying you'll have to read her book to find out. But Joe urges her to speak. You can tell he's listening to her story like you might to a
What's that?
child, rather than anything more serious.
Now,
if it's not aliens, would it be like time
and
travel?
the Russians created something that mimicked.
I assume it'd be like
a
government
UFO,
aircraft or
that
something.
looked like it
If
would be
they,
from
if
another
anyone
planet.
actually saw
Stalin
anything.
actually, according to the source, invaded our airspace, which was the deep embarrassment to Truman.
So he invaded our airspace and then let this drone crash land on the ground with these things that turned out to be human. They looked like aliens, but they turned out to be humans that were manipulated surgically to look like aliens.
When Joe asked the obvious question, did she see any photos or documentation of this, you can quickly see her deflect.
Did you see photos?
No, I did not see photos,
No.
but here's the rub. Ready?
She claims this earth-shattering revelation comes from a single anonymous source who conveniently died before she could get permission to reveal his identity.
He recently died, and he did give me permission
made other
to
interesting
tell his
ideas.
full story after he died, and
Are you
I'm
gonna do that?
circling around that. Circling around that.
But wait, it gets even worse.
But I remember seeing this. Annie Jacobs, right? I'm pretty sure I saw a video where she talks about Charlie Manson and Whitey Bulger as being like, oh, these guys got locked up as juveniles. And when they come out, they do some of the most notorious crimes in American history. Like, that would have been something like for this Moon guy to like actually go over. But I guess he's going with the UFO stuff, and then I assume he's going to use the same clip that the other guy uses about like, oh man, I think people lie to me. They come on my podcast to lie about UFOs to maybe trick us or something, or distract us from something else. I don't know. All right, here we go. Let's see where he goes.
According to Jacobson, the US then tried to replicate the Soviet program, and when Joe asks who they used for these experiments...
So what they do? Take prisoners or something? Like what? Who do they alter?
He said they were handicapped children.
So he's saying that he participated in something that altered handicapped children. When you say handicapped, you mean like Down syndrome or something like that? And they made them look like aliens and then killed them?
So her evidence for this wild theory that rewrites both UFO history and Cold War history is one dead guy she won't name who told her the Soviets surgically altered handicapped children to look like aliens, then crashed them in New Mexico, and then the US did the exact same thing. Annie keeps going on about her book, just like Joe's favorite Egyptologist did when questioned about new ideas about the history of ancient Egypt.
Okay. How do you know?
How do you know?
How do you know?
I found all the evidence of building the pyramid. We published a book.
Who built these?
1,000
Someone
pages.
built the pyramids?
This book is the Bible of the pyramids of Giza Plateau.
There have been plenty of credible UFO whistleblowers on Joe Rogan, and for the record, many bring some compelling testimonies that really do make you think, but it becomes...
God?
No, I just saw a whole bunch of smoke in front of him. Like,
Yeah, they're smoking
I don't know if
cigars.
this comes from Joe.
They're both smoking cigars, probably, right there. All right, here we go.
It's really hard to know who to trust when grifters like Lou and Jacobson use their
Audience, I'm
platform
just
for
letting it
blatant
play. Fuck it.
self-promotion.
Why not?
You can almost say they've been compromised by their own imaginations. Joe's show has attracted politicians of all kinds from all sides, but this one stands out. Dan Crenshaw, the Texas congressman, has built his brand as the tough-talking conservative who understands what regular Americans are really going through. Many saw him as one of their own, a warrior who literally bled for his country. But what came out of his mouth on the Joe Rogan Experience reveals why his own base has turned against him. When discussing COVID stimulus payments, Crenshaw unveiled his real philosophy about ordinary Americans.
Because there's value in suffering. And in today's society, we have convinced ourselves that there is no value in suffering, that the entire role of, say, government is to end your suffering. But this is a false promise. Not only is it a false promise, but it will create a weak society that is unable to sustain itself.
He continued attacking the pandemic relief for working families.
Going over examples of people
mentality
bullshitting
where
in
we
front of
actually,
him, I guess.
elevate this idea of being helpless. See, that's what's changed. But does that also mean we need to provide a $1,400 check to somebody who never lost their job and whose biggest hardship has been Zoom meetings?
So suffering builds character for the working classes. Okay, but what about for politicians like himself?
Yeah, this guy's
Well,
a
while
nobody
Dan was
now.
lecturing Americans about avoiding victimhood mentality, he was busy making his own moves.
think it's Valor's
In
actually
March
a question,
2020,
too,
just as
but I don't
Congress
know.
was crafting the first COVID relief package, he made 5 strategic stock purchases in Southwest Airlines, Boeing, Amazon,
haven't heard of
SPX,
him in
Kinder
a while.
Morgan, and an S&P 500 index fund days before the CARES Act was being voted on and signed into law. Dan failed to report these trades within the required 45-day window, violating the Stock Act. He only disclosed them in December 2020, conveniently after winning his re-election. Before March 2020, Dan had never traded individual stocks while in office. But we need to understand why the CARES Act was important in this context, as it specifically bailed out airlines with $50 billion, $25 billion in grants that didn't need to be repaid, and $25 billion in loans, while providing massive liquidity for companies that saw stocks rise and traders like Dan then profit. When confronted by the press, Dan defended congressional stock trading by arguing politicians needed to best themselves.
So how about we don't make any money either? How about like just cut our paychecks? We haven't gotten a pay raise since 2008, even a COLA increase. So yeah, this is a great idea. Let's make Congress a place where only the millionaires can actually afford to do the job.
So a $1,600 stimulus check for a struggling family creates dangerous dependency, but stock trading for a congressman making $174,000
anti-welfare
plus
too far, I
benefits,
guess.
that's just ensuring Congress attracts quality people. He even stated his support for private sector company bailouts because the companies didn't do anything wrong in the pandemic, as if ordinary families did do something wrong.
I'll be real. This guy was kind of obvious off rep, but people are stupid. I get that. People are dumb. It takes some time to figure things out. But this guy was pretty obvious off rep. Crenshaw was pretty obvious to me.
So
As obvious
this
as.
is
Yeah, God.
people should suck it up, but the companies did nothing wrong to deserve it.
Well, God says suffering's a thing sometimes. You gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? Not him, but other people. Yeah. Or maybe he suffered enough already. Maybe he knows God's threshold of suffering before you get it. Comes in. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. Just fuck it. Here we go.
There was this outrage from the populist right and the populist left against anything that had the name corporation attached to it. And we've forgotten how to ask ourselves, like, why is that? Did they do something evil? What exactly is evil about these entities? You know, they employ lots of people, they create lots of wealth. In this particular case, we're not being bailed out. They didn't do anything wrong, but we're really mad at them for some reason.
Remember, these are the same company bailouts that generated a handsome profit for Dan from his insider trades. Dan's donor list itself is just telling us to why he's fallen out with all sides of the political spectrum. His main financiers include Huntsman Corp and Cheniere Energy, both owned by BlackRock, plus a range of BlackRock subsidiaries. BlackRock itself is partnered with the World Economic Forum, but Dan was selected
He's selling out for $5,000 and $8,000
or something.
That's all it takes.
That's pretty obvious.
Young global leaders. World Economic Forum, Young Global
In that case, I'll buy a
This all
Congress.
tells a tale of classic elite hypocrisy disguised in conservative principles. Corporate bailouts are necessary, but stimulus checks are dangerous for society. When working families needed help the most during the pandemic, Dan said no. There's value in suffering. But when he needed to profit from his congressional position, that was just being smart. Now, Joe Rogan's format often exposes potential frauds, sometimes on the show itself, and sometimes in the ensuing tidal
probably
wave of
ask themselves,
debate.
like,
But
how are
once
they
the
awful?
podcast is
How's-
published, there's no turning
how
back,
did they end
and
up being
everything can be
bullshit, like,
exposed,
this many
oftentimes by Joe himself. But in some of the most interesting cases we've explored,
It's called
some guests have
abusing
learned to
children.
weaponize
That's
the
what
show's authenticity. And this doesn't just reveal who people are, it shows you exactly how they want to be seen, the methods behind their appearance in the first place, the reasons why they go on the show. Which is why people are noting that Joe Rogan's podcast is becoming different, to say the least.
Oh, it's
Again,
becoming
thank
different.
you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Don't forget.
That's his video. Becoming, what do you call it? Dangerous? It's becoming something. Like, when's this video from? A couple weeks ago? A couple days ago? 8 days ago. Yeah. So, someone ruined someone spoiler this guy, bro. Yeah. Once again, go back 10 years and something not right was happening already as far as his guests, and it was just easily manipulating what they were doing. And Rogan just didn't see it himself because I think he's dumb in one form or fashion or another. Like, seriously. But all right. I want to play this part. I want to play this, but I want to hide the screen because of copyright. I was recently copyrighted again, so I'm just gonna like kind of keep this try to like, play the audio, but you won't see you won't see them, if that makes sense. So forgive me for that. I know. I'm sorry, guys. But here is Joe Rogan with Duncan Trussell, where Duncan brings up the idea like, hey man, people are like maybe like abusing your platform for this or for that, and Rogan's fucking high or drunk or something. So whatever he is, it is what it is. But nonetheless, Duncan tells him this shit, and all right, whatever. Here we go. I'll try to like not get copyrighted. Here you go.
Flying through the universe.
God, Joe, wait.
Impossible.
Look, man, I don't care about fucking Ben Shapiro. I don't
Thank
care.
God you're the first episode on Spotify.
Shout out to War Thunder.
Thank God.
I
What are we,
legitimately.
4 hours in?
Trash game.
Who
At
cares?
least. Plus.
I
4
don't
hours
care.
plus.
I don't care about Ben Shapiro. I
But
don't
you
care.
should. He's a nice guy.
Who
That's
cares?
my no, he cares. Listen, if I hug Ben Shapiro, I
Oh, he does?
really hug him. I love that guy.
He's a sweetie, I'm sure.
He's a sweetie.
But
when
he's
I
also-
meet him, he's a nice guy.
Look, man, it doesn't matter. Like, here's a deeper point, man. I don't mean.
So Rogan's there with he's a nice guy, but it's like, well, he also is okay with children being blown up left and right. Like that's the case. Sorry, guys. Like it is what it is. And once again, this is from 4 years ago, so Rogan doesn't know that yet. Although, if you looked in the Shapiro 4 years ago, you'd fucking know that. You know that. It is what it is.
Well, who's seen him as a nice guy? Like his
Well,
whole brand was like, oh, he destroys some college kids debating. Right? That was his brand before.
yeah,
We're
but
going back.
well, that's what got him on Rogan, right? But then Rogan gets to have dinner with him, right? He's like, oh, he's a nice guy. He tips. You know, he gives tips. Pause. Right? Oh, he's a nice guy. I hugged him before. He's a nice guy. But then if you hear him on like yo Joe, bring up Iran in front of Ben Shapiro, see what happens. Oh, this guy's full of shit. Probably, right? Now, I personally have viewed Ben as full of shit on behalf of something he believes. Full of shit on behalf of something he believes in himself. That's where I'm at with Ben Shapiro. I'm still there. Everything I've said is lining up exactly with what I thought of him in the first place. But if some guy said, yo, Ben, go on Joe Rogan's show and just use his platform to push this message, you bet your ass Ben Shapiro would do that. And Joe is just unaware of that somehow. Absolutely unaware of that. And I guess Duncan tries to tell him that, but Rogan has he's too stupid, dude. He's too dumb. So let's keep playing this. Once again, I'm going to turn my screen off, or move to a different video. I'll use this one. Yes, give me George. I'll use George instead. All right, here we go.
To do this every time I'm on,
but
you have such a crazy power
Turn up, by the way.
that if you're not careful, folks from deep, dark wells of perspective are gonna infiltrate your shit. Dude, have you watched that great documentary on the like white Aryan folks? Man, it's fucked up. Like this.
Dude, why you gotta go there? Give me that lighter.
Here you go. Like,
Rogan is so fucked up,
look
by the
at,
way.
like, these people are very organized, man. It's like they're organized, is what I'm saying. And like, and again, I'm not saying Ben Shapiro is this person. He wears a yarmulke. He's Jewish. I don't know much about him. I don't care. I don't care.
Listen to me. All those people that are organized, they can come hang out with us. Give me a hug.
You don't want to give them a hug?
Relax.
Why?
Just relax. All those people are just people, man.
Like a white supremacist?
They're lost. They imagine if you gave a white supremacist 5 MEO DMT and let him sit on a couch, like one of them brown suede couches. They'd take 3 big hits.
Is that what
and
they're
then
on?
As the first one, as they're exhaling.
That's what Rogan might be on.
Yeah.
He's seeing things.
It's funny though. Like here's like I just listen, Rogan's a fucking idiot. But I do like the guy at the core though. Pause, that's major pause. I do like something here, like I like this. This is awesome, and very funny, but also like so childish and naive. It really is. It's not just naive in the sense of like social naive, right? That can happen, and I think he's aware of the social naive part. But like yo, Rogan, you're a person too, man. I understand like trying to care for the other, but like you're a person too. So if someone says like, "Hey, I'm gonna kill children," you gotta like get in the way, like maybe say something like, "What? Excuse me? You can't just fucking do like fuck out of here, man. You're not just doing that." And one of the example I used before I hit record, where it's like, yo, have Ben say the same shit about your children, Joe Rogan. What the fuck would happen? I think you'd choke him out, maybe, or maybe like you'd have a different approach about it. You have to ask him more questions, like, yo, what the fuck you saying? Huh? The fuck are you gonna do? I think you would like dig into what he's saying a little bit harsher. When it's like other people's kids, maybe Rogan's like, oh no, maybe I can hug him. He'll be nice about this. I don't fucking think so, dude. I don't like Ben is so locked in with that shit. Like, sorry, there's no like what do you do with that? If you bring up a blatant example of, once again, not his country, right? Israel does some weird shit, right? You pointed out, you're like, hey, man, damn, man, how did they do that, man? That's crazy. Why the fuck did they do that? What the fuck? You bring it up to Ben, he has 10,000 excuses built it, like, ready to go. Before the event even happened, he has excuses for that shit. And that should be fucking worrying for your friend, right? Your friend? Right, Joe Rogan? A guy you like, he's a good guy at heart. Showcase it then. Please show us all that's the case. Please. Because everyone gets their fucking IQ test. They do. Nature just does that, apparently. Where you claim one thing, and then nature throws a fucking rock in the fucking, if you will, the cogs. Make you stop and think about it. Now what? And watch what Ben does. Did we say nice guy now? What do you do then, Joe Rogan? Ah, man, we all need love. I agree. Guess what? Anger is a part of love. Honesty is a part of love. Being critical is a part of love. It's like you have a dumbed down version of love and you're trying to express that with people at best. It doesn't work out, for me at least. Like using all my faculties, man, my mind, my heart, my soul, all of it. Doesn't work out too well, dude. You end up saying like, wow, in front of fucking Hitler. Wow, those paintings? Wow. Which is fine. Right? You could say like, oh, wow, you're a painter? Awesome. But there's also this other thing that you're doing where you're like, I mean, causing mass harm. Let's ask some questions about that, Rogan. Without being enamored by his fucking paintings. Right? Are we? Whatever. I think we're this stupid. I think we're this dumb. But you know what? Here's more Rogan and Duncan Trussell. And Duncan's going to lay out a hard truth that Rogan actually did for, what's his name? Brendan Schaub, right? But hey, man, maybe you're not a fighter like that. You're not like a UFC fighter like that. Maybe do something else, man. You're just losing brain cells. That's all you're doing. Well, Duncan's doing that for Joe, and Joe has well, Joe's fucked up also, but still, it should like hit home somewhere. All right, here we go. Yeah. I might skip him doing the Buddha. He is off his ass right now. That's hilarious. Let's skip
They
this.
get sucked boundary into the center of the universe, and they realize there is no center because there is no boundaries. It's all connected.
That's
You're in a
crazy.
soup. You're in an infinite soup of ideas and biology and thoughts and prayers
He's a
and
soup
love and
for man.
hope and happiness and jealousy and anal sex, and it's all together. With cartoons and pop music and cheeseburgers. Just a bunch of different experiences all fucking stitched together in some
You're
sort
saying
of
there's a redemptive
macrame.
possibility.
And then
of course there is.
The aliens land.
Yeah. Look, man, this
The
is the way I
aliens
see it. I don't know, man. Who gives a fuck? Like, really, it's like, you know, the reality of it is like we are in a very bizarre period in time, which is that you and I, we became friends on the phone having these same conversations, and now you say a thing that flies in the face of the particular like default reality of our time, and you start trending on Twitter. You know, like that's like some of our like the way I know you right now is like you trending on Twitter where I'm like, what the fuck happened?
But the joke's on them because I don't read Twitter.
You don't go on Twitter at all.
I don't read it. I post things. Like today I posted Ali Letterman made some masks.
It's just
so I
weird.
post her masks.
Joe, it's just weird because it's like you're like a...
But it's not me. It's what they think I am. It's who they decide I am.
Yeah, but you have to watch
Aw,
out because people are
that's
gonna
adorable.
like try to exploit you. That's the main thing. Is like people recognizing what you are, who have political agendas, will infiltrate your shit and then start blowing out their radioactivity into the world. Right? That's a fear.
Like radium, like face rot and shit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Now, what? What's ago? 4 years ago. I mean, well, I guess Rogan confirmed that. I guess as of recent. Well, granted, it was about aliens. I think, but like maybe Rogan doesn't realize like, people in general might just abuse your platform, and maybe their own personal idea of like what a friend means might be something, and they're like, oh, well, Rogan's my friend, so I can go on his platform and spread my message through his platform because we're friends. Might be like a twisted kind of psychopathic version of friendship, But still, Rogan, where's your fucking eyesight at for all of this? Like, where's it at? And Duncan's like essentially like pleading, like, yo, Joe. Someone might go on use your platform to push a fucking thing out there. Rogan, he does have a response for all of this, but it's, for me, not good enough. But I understand. I could understand. But it's not good enough. But, all right, here we go.
Exactly. Like they'll get in there, and then like all of a sudden, like you accidentally start exhaling shit that's like that you don't agree. I know you don't agree with like Ben Shapiro.
Listen, it's not that I don't agree with Ben Shapiro, and I definitely don't on many things, and he and I talked about it. It's that I don't want to abandon him.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't think he's worthy of abandonment because I think he's a good person.
Right.
And I think many of the things he says because he's rewarded for saying controversial things on the internet, and many times make sense in a logical way if you don't take into account all the different situations that lead to a person becoming who they are in 2020.
Right.
Slavery and Jim Crow laws and all these different things that we all have to deal with. But I think he's a good person. I really do. And I think many a times, like the things we say were half defensive and half promotional. You're saying things because you think that people are going to react in a certain way.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily mean it. And you also say things because you've seen the contrary to that poorly worded, and you decide you don't agree with that, and so
Right.
you want to counter it. But I think the problem is in ideologies. More than anything, if I'm really...
Okay, before he goes into that, yeah, well, you can't just... like you had people on, and they have an idea of whatever, of the world or something like that, or ideas in general, whatever the fuck. I don't... You have to be you in those scenarios, right, Rogan? You can't just be... Like, I understand people have their own idea of things, but you can't relinquish what you actually think about things. It should be important. Like him with Crowder, right? Like, he kind of let loose a bit and actually said, like, okay, here's what I believe, and I'm going to, like, argue in this direction. Like, isn't that more of the real you? Actually, morally, wouldn't it be wrong to not be yourself in front of someone while they're being honest themselves? Right? Maybe they have an agenda. Maybe they're honestly doing their agenda. Maybe they're honestly saying something, like, for real, saying something to you. Okay. But for me personally, like, okay, that almost demands I be real with them too. And it's like, Rogan, you're not like... I think it feels like what he's saying, like at the same time he's saying, like, well, it's not my place to be saying this or saying that. But at the same time he's like, yeah, but it's what I do. I platform people and just let them run, right? Let them talk, and maybe be quasi supportive to hear more about their idea and all that shit. And it's like, well, who asked you to do that, bro? The point is, like, be yourself. If you hear something where you're like, man, these guys are like okay, I feel like you're abusing my platform for the sake of your own messaging. Why not say that? If they can't handle that, like it kind of is what it is. If you're being real and honest with them, like, well, that's your mistake for not being able to deal with honesty. Not yours, Joe. It's not your fault if you're being honest and they fucking run away from it. It is what it is. Like, you're not, I think it's, I don't think it's a service to pretend you like what they're saying so that they say more about it. In fact, in a way, it's kind of a little bit sneaky, but I'm not going to call them sneaky for that. It's just, it's strategically like ineffective and also morally, I think, wrong. Based on my perspective, right? If I did that, I'd be like, yeah, I'm wrong for doing that. Try to like goat someone into saying something out loud, like, nah. Fuck that. Fuck games. Fuck bullshit. It's not about winning and losing. It's about real. What's real? What's honest? That is all. But, all right. Let's hear more, I guess. There we go.
Being objective, I always feel like our problem is purely in ideologies because we just get committed to one side or the other and ideas to one side. You're right or you're wrong. And I think if we could just divorce ourselves from ideas and divorce ourselves from all ideologies and just look at something like honest, like you come to me and I come to you and I go, hey man, what's up? I go,
But how's that
what are
creating
your
that,
intentions?
Rogan?
My intention is to live a harmonious life with my neighbors. And I said, mine as well.
Yeah.
Okay, good, beautiful. And you hug each other and you go, what do we have to do about taxes? What do
Yeah.
look at, man, if we lived in a community where I felt like, hey, if I pay more in taxes, people will have their kids in a better school and the water
Yeah.
will be purer and, there'd be less crime. I would fucking 100% sign
Sure,
up for that.
of course.
But I don't think the people that are taking that fucking thing and running with it know what they're doing.
That's right.
That's the problem.
You believe in the idea of the.
Like, fair enough. Fucking say that, though. Why are you waiting to be, like, drunk and high in front of Duncan Trussell to say that? Like, you could just say that, dude. It's like, I think regular motherfuckers would get it. They'd be like, okay, this is Joe's point of view. And when Joe's in front of, Duncan Trussell or Neil deGrasse Tyson or Ben Shapiro, like, it's the same idea that he still believes in. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Seriously. If someone's being full of shit in front of you and you call them out, like, you believe, like, hey, man, it sounds like you're being full of shit or you're lying to me. Not saying you have to say that way, but in whatever form or fashion you do it, it's like, what's wrong with that? Maybe that's your real thoughts. Why are we afraid of your real thoughts, Joe Rogan? That's not a problem. Maybe for some it is, because if you say, like, hey, well, Ben, they're, like, massacring people over there. Well, Hamas is doing Hamas stuff, and Hamas. If that's his response, like, well, he's choosing to be full of shit and a dumb fuck in those moments. Let him be a dumb fuck, because guess what? We've all been dumb fucks. Right? Why are you trying to, like protect them from being dumb fucks when they might be dumb fucks? Why are we doing that?
Speak for yourself.
Sir, no comment. You know where you're at, bro. It is what it is. All right, here we go.
Democracy, you just don't believe in the organizational facility that's like administering democracy.
Been to the red line of human beings. I
He's
know
out there right
when people
now.
fall apart. I know the red line.
Yeah.
I know when the RPMs hit.
Yeah.
I know when people
Yeah.
bitch out. And I know I'm not going to bitch out. And if you're going to bitch out, I know if you're bitching out and you're also making laws.
Right.
What are you saying? What are you doing? What's
Yeah.
going on? Who are you? Why are you
He's fucking
deciding
so
what
fucked up.
people do? We shouldn't have any figureheads.
That's
it's
right.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Alpha chimps are dangerous.
This
Take it from me.
Here's where I kind of disagree, as in, like, if you had the actual quote-unquote alpha motherfuckers doing things would be different. but our standards for alpha mean something like business suits and money and degrees from universities and all that shit. Not the actual thing about like character, right? But yeah, if it was like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, who like superheroes, Neo, like savages, right? If they're running quote unquote running things, not saying that's the way it should be at all. Like everyone should be like Neo on their own, in their own accord, right? But let's be real, most people don't do that fucking work. So these people that claim to be alpha chubs, right? Who cheat or lie and steal their way to the fucking top, those are not alphas. Those are little dweebs. They got stuffed in lockers years ago. And they're like, meh. I'll take it out on you guys. Meh. I know better for you. Meh. Those dummies. But, okay, whatever. Went on my own ideology thingy right there, but whatever. As far as like there should be no leaders, I'm like, I believe the exact opposite. I believe everyone should be a fucking leader. That's where I'm at. Now, who will step on that fucking platform and do that shit? Probably very, 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 very few and far between. Let's be honest. But the actual best answer is that everyone's that type of everyone's that savage, basically. Everyone's that legit. Everyone has these moral principles that they cannot break at any moment. But yeah, we're here. It wouldn't be lack of leadership. It'd be, hey, this guy talks well, so he's gonna talk. This guy can make signs really good, he's gonna make signs. This guy can make movies really good, he'll make movies. This guy can cook good, he's gonna cook. That's actually the answer, in my humble opinion, my personal opinion. But no one takes time to figure. No one bothers to figure that shit out. Actually, no one cares to do that. So thus, we repeat ourselves throughout history, over and over and over again, but pretending that things got better, because, you know, Rogan has HD cameras. Now he's better than some guy on a radio recording from, 1920 something. Who's better than some guy speaking in a town square in, 1820 something, like on and so forth. Our idea of better is goddamn stupid. It's fucking dumb. It's not real progression, in as far as what I would call progression towards making the world more, I guess, holistic or more harmonious, or whatever word you want to put on it. But all right, here we go. Let's keep going. Sorry, I'm going woo-woo right now. Here we go.
Person with a big platform.
Yeah.
You shouldn't listen to me. You shouldn't listen to you. You shouldn't listen to Bert Kreischer.
No.
You shouldn't listen to Tom Segura, Ari Shafir, Joey
All
Diaz.
comedians.
Or name all the people you love to listen to. Sam Harris, don't listen to them. Meaning, listen to their show, but apply to whatever they say your own objective opinion.
But how weird is it that people will focus that you have been...
I might stop it here. I don't know what he means by that. Your own objective opinion, meaning like objectively, this is what I think, aka honesty. I say yes, do that. Apply your honesty to everything you ever interact with, all day, every day, 24/7, no matter what. I dare you to. But yeah, I agree with Rogan on that. But I guess the overall main point, considering the other two videos, is Duncan Trussell is telling Rogan, like, yeah, someone might be abusing your fucking platform. Do I give Duncan the last words here? Let's give it a shot. Here we go. I'll give it a shot.
Ben Shapiro on this podcast, but they don't focus that you have Bernie Sanders on. How weird is it?
They do.
Okay, he's talking about like other people talking about like, hey, Rogan's a right wing, whatever the fuck he is, right wing influencer or some shit like that. But he has Bernie Sanders on at the same time. Got it. And actually agrees with Bernie Sanders apparently on several things. That's whatever. The point is to be honest, As in, there are questions that you can ask Bernie Sanders. There are questions you can ask Donald Trump or Kash Patel or any of these fucking people that you could have, Ben Shapiro, anyone you could have asked them in the midst of it, Rogan, based on the information that you talked about beforehand, in the after the fact, years later or an episode later, you still ask. You have questions that you could ask that you didn't in real time, and simple, like, kind of logic thing. Now maybe you got tripped up, right, psychologically. Maybe you got tripped up and couldn't ask those questions. I say fair enough, but just be honest. Say, okay, I got tripped up. I didn't realize I could have asked this. I was like, brain farting in the moment and didn't realize to ask this question or whatever, which is fair enough. You shouldn't be like put at the stake for that, but that feels like something that Rogan's trying to avoid instead of like living like you're like living like you know better type of shit. Meaning, like, if you're honest, like, yo, fuck you for this statement. It's like, well, I was being honest. Isn't that what you want? No, I don't. Well, maybe I do want, like, right? It's like, okay, you want people to be fucking honest with you. I would hope. Name me the person, whether they're corrupt head of state or a random person on the street that wants to be lied to. I don't think anyone says yes to that. Even the quote-unquote worst of us. So being honest is just, yeah, that's the way to go. Personally. Including Rogan yourself. Right? If you were a microphone, I'd understand. But you're not. You're a fucking person with ideas. I've heard your ideas. So why not say your fucking ideas? Why not do that? But then again, we are on planet Earth. All right, there's your video. Please subscribe if you feel like. Comment. Agree, disagree with anything. There's a lot of content here. Please tell me what you think. No matter, like, whatever you believe in, please say it if you want to say it. Don't forget to check out the links in the description box for donations to charities, and also a link for a Discord if you want to join that and talk with other people. I guess. What do I call them? YellBroettes? YellBro-lights? Yeah. What do I call them? Whatever. Please join the Discord if you want to. What?
That sounded sus. That sounded sus.
YellBro Light? Why's that sus?
No, the first shit you said.
YellBro right?
Yeah, bro. Let's. What the fuck
YellBro
is
Let's. It's like me but lesser. You know what I'm saying?
Damn,
why not?
son.
Why not?
God damn.
It's lesser than YellBro. Come on, join up. Don't be a pussy.
Holy fuck. You see what this guy does?
See, like, my ego from getting, like, 40 views on a video, man. It just exploded. Pause. Anyways, with all that said, please give this video a thumbs down. Yeah.